Ohio. We've got Texas, Ohio, and Louisiana. So the West, the North, and the South, covering all three regions. And we're going to look at Foster's from the land down under, right, the other side of the world. And welcome, world.
Tell us where it's brewed, Jay.
Actually, it's brewed all over the world. It's brewed in Australia, the United States, Canada, Great Britain. So it's a pretty much worldwide production. This can is probably from Fort Worth, Texas. One good thing about Foster's is if you look at the bottom of the can,
yep,
you get the best by date.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have that bill of
best before November 17th of 2014. That's what mine says.
Same date on mine.
Same date on mine. That's bizarre.
$1.49 at my local supermarket, Giant Eagle. That's the name.
Yeah, $1.67 at mine.
And this is ice cold because I've got it in my cooler. And Jay, just for you, I got my special Foster's glassware.
Wow.
How about that? I'm going to pop it open without further ado.
Let's do it, and then we'll talk about it.
All right, let's pop.
Oh, 25.4 ounces is an odd number, but the reason, well, it's actually an even number, but the reason it's that way is because it's a 1 liter can, so metric.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, this is not poured out so
good. Royale with cheese.
I need a big glass, so let me pour it in this chalice.
Yeah, if I had known this would have been so awkward, I would have used that chalice, Jay. I've got one in the kitchen. Wow. Let's set that thing down.
These things spill. Let me go get a towel. These
yeah, I got it all over my pants.
Doggone big cans invariably spill.
Got a hell of a lot of head on it, that's for sure. How did yours pour out there, Paul? Let me see.
Check it out.
You got a little more head than I do. It's a hell of a light golden color, though. That's for sure.
Very billowy, very light.
Yeah, these I did get a pretty big head, even though it's a super wide brim mug. I got a pretty thick foamy head, and that's kind of impressive. I don't know what's causing that. I guess certain enzymes or.
Big bubbles there. A lot of big bubbles.
It's a golden appearance for sure.
Very foamy, very foamy.
Yeah, golden. Lots of bubbles, but if you look at this direct light coming from outside or this indirect light, there's a lot of sediment, little fine particles throughout the beer. I don't know if y'all can see that.
I don't see that in mine. I don't see that in mine, Jay.
You'll get that with even highly filtered beers if the light is correct.
And I got the light coming. It's coming right through the window. I have no artificial lights on in here at all. I don't know. It's pretty darn clear. I mean, you could read a newspaper through that thing. Look at that. Matter of fact, let's see. Yeah, so you can see the print right through there. Well, hey, what happened to Jay? Where's our host at? The hostess.
Well, I had to go clean up the spill. Okay. Anyway, sorry that. Anyway, Foster's was started by 2 American immigrants to Australia. Believe it or not. The Foster brothers went to Australia from America, and they started Foster's in 1888, but the first Foster's beer did not go on sale until February 1889. Now, Dave, you said you were going to arrive with bells on. I don't know.
Oh.
He's got the bells.
For all my friends on YouTube and Facebook, I've lost my mind. Absolutely. Yeah. I think we should get an aroma on this. What do you think?
Yeah, let's check out the aroma. Little yeasty.
Ooh, wait.
Yeast.
Kind of smells corn sweet to me. Wow.
I'm getting a noticeable yeast. Now, they claim they use a secret so-called yeast. I don't know how secret it really is, but that's what they claim. You know, most of these brewers have a proprietary yeast, so it's almost like Foster's making a little joke about that, but I'm getting a biscuity aroma, I have to tell you. It's sort of like a sourdough biscuit, maybe corn. I don't know. What about you, Paul?
All I can smell is the yeast.
Yeast and corn.
Like I'm walking through a bakery or something.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Do you find it's more typical or atypical for American style lagers?
I think it's a little yeastier than a typical American adjunct lager.
I tell you, in all fairness, this made about a good 2 fingers ahead. And I've poured more beer in here as it's gone down, but I think we should drink it before it warms up. Here, cheers.
Yeah, you're right. You don't want to let these things warm.
Now, to me, I don't get the sweetness that I had in the aroma. It doesn't come through. There's not a lot of flavor in here to me. If anything, I say it's a little bready.
Yeah, bready, and you know, I really am picking up some low-level hop bitterness.
Yeah, I am too. Mm-hmm.
And they use a special hop. There's 3 farms in Australia where the hops come from, and it's called Pride of Ringwood hops. They're supposed to be a little bit unique. You know, I don't know. I think they are a little bit.
It kind of reminds me of that creaminess from that Labatt's that we tasted.
Oh yeah.
I definitely put it back in the cooler, gentlemen, because as it's just as I held it in my hand, I can taste a little bit of that corn sweetness. I couldn't taste it at first, but now it's kind of lingering on my palate, just a little bit,
Yeah. Like Jimmy said, salted him a little bit.
No.
This is about beer now. Let's
Right.
stick to beer.
A little bit out of order yourself. But anyway,
Beer's on the house. On the house.
On which house? I don't know.
anyway,
On your house, right?
It's in the house.
In the house.
the body is sort of light to medium, more in a medium range body.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I know a lot of people watching this video are going to totally disagree with me. But I don't find anything offensive about this beer. I don't, as long as you keep it cold.
Yeah.
And again, you know, if you're just home for lunch one day and you're having a pastrami sandwich and a bag of chips, well, you know, what the hell? This is good to wash it down with. Why not?
Yeah, I can go along with that. You get on Rate Beer and they're saying it's a 4 out of 100, and Beer Advocate's saying it's awful. But I don't think there's anything awful about it. If somebody did a video review and they said it's ordinary or average, or they find it dull, that is within reason, I think. But when you get these people on there and they say it's horrible, it makes people sick, it tastes like horse urine and all of that, those kind of reviews, they don't seem too credible to me. I'm sorry.
I really like that comment, Jay, because, all right, if it tastes like horse urine, have you actually tasted horse urine?
Yeah,
so you can make an assumption about this one?
Right. And
You actually so you've had horse urine, okay? What?
or they'll say a lot of times they'll say beers taste like cat urine. I've never had that.
Well, I think we should challenge them to a taste test, don't you? A blind.
I've never tasted horse or cat urine. I can't tell you anything about it. I don't know.
Right. Now here's a few facts about Foster's, just for the viewers. Okay, it was introduced in 1889, and at one time it was a very popular beer in Australia. In the last 25 years or so, it has lost popularity. It's not very popular.
Is that because the American beers have infiltrated that market and it's kind of like...
That's probably part of it. And they said that the Australians, they just turned against it, sort of like Americans against Schlitz. They had this idea that it was no good, and they have trouble. There's 2 friends I have in Australia. They can't even find it to do a video with us. They were going to join with me to do a video. They could not find Foster's.
That's what I heard, Jay. That's
Yeah.
what I. You know, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but very quickly. Do you know what the #1 selling beer in Australia is? I don't know. I'm asking you.
Yeah, I think it's Victoria Bitters,
Really?
which is actually brewed by Foster's. So the people say, I'm not drinking Foster's, that's garbage, but they'll drink Victoria Bitter, which is not that different. But okay, a little bit more history. So it was a very popular beer. In 1972, they started to import it into the United States in those big cans, and Americans thought it looked like oil cans, so they called the cans oil cans. All right, further down the road on the timeline.
Any background as to, I mean, it's just because it's a liter, is that why? As to the size?
Just because it was a big, unusually fat can, you know.
Just a differentiation in the market?
Yeah, it was just, oh, why did they introduce it in the oil can?
Yeah, why would they?
I don't know. Even Foster's doesn't explain why. They just say they did. But anyway, Miller apparently handled the distribution in America, okay? All right, so then Foster's went through different ownership changes over there in Australia, like that tends to happen with brands of food and beer. All right, then in 2011, Miller decided, you know what, let's just buy the whole company, and Miller bought all of the Foster's assets in Australia. So today Foster's is owned by, not really Miller, right, because Miller is also owned by SAB. So it's called SAB-Miller now, South African Beverages Miller. And SAB is a London-based company. So SAB now owns Miller since 2002 and Foster since 2011. So it's part of this worldwide conglomerate. Now, one of the people and he was having trouble with his computer linkage, so that's probably why he's not joining us now, Eric. He was mentioning GMOs, genetically modified corn is used in Foster's, and he said that's the kind of stuff that'll kill you, and he wanted to talk about it. I don't know if GMOs will kill you. I hear a lot about that, though.
What beers in America don't use GMO corn at this point?
Only organic ones, I guess. Organic, I don't know.
Right? I don't think you're required to be non-GMO for organic.
Yeah, it's just got to be, yeah, right. What's your opinion on GMOs?
Me?
Either one of y'all.
I mean, I try to avoid them when I can. I mean, they're so ubiquitous that you can't really do much about it to keep it totally out of your life, but I just try to, you know, when I can, avoid them.
Yeah, I think Paul is absolutely right. I mean, everywhere you look, it's in our society. You have to go out of your way. You have to really be on a mission to avoid GMO.
Yeah.
I don't think, and this is way off the beaten path because we're talking about Foster's, but I don't think craft beers in America use GMOs. I could be wrong. I just don't think that they do, because if you really subscribe to the Reinheitsgebot, you don't use things like that. But that's a whole nother video.
You know, I guess it depends on if it uses adjunct like rice or corn. I mean, most of the corn in America, for example, is all GMO.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know if anybody's doing GMO barley. You know. Anyway,
barley or hops.
What is your general impression of Foster's? I know what I think about it, but
well, I like it. I'll say this about it. It kind of reminds me of the Labatt's in the sense that these non-U.S. lagers are different enough that it gives you sort of a different flavor than the typical American adjunct lager, but it's still a light, you know, light, refreshing beer that to me is good in the summertime to have at a party or something, you know, when you want to have more than one and you don't want to get, you know, like some of these porters and, you know, these heavy beers, you know, I can only have one or two of those and I'm kind of done for, you know, for the day.
Yeah.
But this kind of beers, you know, easy drinking, you know, sitting around. And so I like it because it's a little bit different, but not crazy. Anyway.
Well,
right.
I've kept the beer in the cooler over here, and I've got 4 ice packs in there, so it's cold, believe me. And even as cold as it is, I get a little sweetness in there that I just don't find. It's not to my liking, but I'm not going to knock everybody else in the world and say they shouldn't drink it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you don't like it, you don't like it. It's no big tragedy, you know.
Yeah, it's like I said, you know, we with a pastrami sandwich or a ham sandwich or a turkey sandwich and a bag of chips, it'll do. It's not something I'd rush out to the store and buy in mass quantities, but hey, to each his own.
Yeah, I like that you can get 2 cans for $3 a lot of times around here. So what's that? 4 beers that's 50 cents a beer. That's not bad.
Here's what I'd like to ask you in all sincerity, though. I'm just jingling here. I'm having fun. But what is the difference between the blue and the green can? Because I see these green cans every once in a while. I've never had one.
Good question. Okay, I think it was 2001 that they developed the Foster's. They used to call it Foster's Special Bitter. and it was an ale. It's an ale, okay? They decided to change it to Foster's Ale. They call it Foster's Ale today. I think the bitter was like scaring people off. Like some casual drinkers wouldn't drink the bitter.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not really bitter. 5.5% alcohol, so it's a little stronger beer, and it does add. They have caramel color added. They say that on the can. If you buy it, it says caramel color added, which is nice that they're letting people know that. Excuse me, this is very carbonated. Yeah, I would say that the Foster's Ale, or it used to be extra special bitter, is probably worth checking out. Yeah, I would say it's worth. But you drink a whole can, you're gonna feel it because it's 5.5%. So.
What is this?
I'll tell you one thing about this beer, though. It's left some lacing on the side of the glass. It's still maintaining its carbonation. It's got some head. So I mean, it's not like some of the American macro lagers, and I'm not going to name names, that they go completely flat after like 30 seconds.
Yeah, like Keystone Premium.
It's maintained a good appearance, and I think that appearance is very important to me, at least. I'm not talking. Look, I'm not talking about everybody in the world. I said to me, okay. Appearance is important in a beer.
I agree, and
why do you want to drink? You want to drink yellow Kool-Aid? Then go. Yeah, you know, it's got to have some kind of substance to it before I want to drink it.
Yeah, this is.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. You made a good point. No, it's 5% alcohol. 5%. Somebody was asking, which is the same as Budweiser and Coors, just as a point of reference.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you know, I'm enjoying it, but Dave, and you also, Paul, you know that I'm probably too easily pleased, not picky enough, whatever, and I'll be the first one to admit that. I mean, anybody that's watched my videos could see that, but I can't help it. If I got up here and I lied, I don't think that would be very honest. So if I'm going to do an honest beer review, and I get up here and say, oh yeah, this beer's terrible, but in my mind I'm thinking, I kind of like it. That would be really wrong. I can't. I'm not going to get up here and do a dishonest beer review, whether it's craft or crap, so-called crap. You know what I mean?
So what do you think about Foster's?
I like it, but that's me. But consider the source.
Well, let me ask you this now. I have to profess my ignorance because I don't buy these beers very often. So, how is this sold in the marketplace? Because I've only seen these huge oil cans. How is this sold in 330 milliliter cans and 12 packs? And 12?
Yeah. You can get it on draft at many places.
Yeah.
You can buy it. Okay, so it's on draft. It's in 12-ounce cans. It's in 12-ounce bottles, and in these famous 1-liter cans. So I can go right to the grocery store and get a 6-pack of bottles if I wanted to. And I wouldn't have mind having a bottle, but I ran out of bottles that were in my fridge. So I haven't really noticed any taste difference between cans and bottles. You know, back in the 70s, yeah, that was a problem with those steel cans. But they've solved that problem with the lined aluminum cans, thanks to Coors, by the way. Coors developed that lined.
Really?
Yeah, because Coors knew that there was a problem with the metallic taste, and so in 1958, by the way, Coors came out with the aluminum can, and then Coors invented the lined cans, which alleviated the problem with the metallic flavor in the beers. So, you know, you got to give them credit for that. That was a.
They had aluminum cans in 1958, you said?
Coors was the first company to ever sell a beer in aluminum cans, and Schlitz was the first company to ever sell a bottled beer in a brown bottle in 1912. They invented the brown bottle. People don't know that, but that's a fact. Coors was realizing that their beers were getting skunked from light, damaging the hops, and so they invented the brown bottle, and everybody copied them. Before 1912, people just did not sell beer in brown bottles because.
Did you say Coors or Schlitz?
Schlitz.
I'm sorry, Schlitz. Yeah, 1912.
Now, Jay, you made an interesting statement here. I just want to follow up and clarify for our viewers here that are watching this. Are you saying that Coors was the first company to make a lined can, or just the aluminum can?
From what I understand, both.
Really? And what year did they make a lined can?
I'm not sure about the lining. I know it's some sort of plastic, but I think it was sometime in the. I think I remember. I think I remember them talking about that in the 80s, talking about these specially lined cans that were supposed to prevent any kind of tainting of the flavor. I'd have to look back in my. I have a lot of literature from Coors with some timelines on that. I could look that up. But anyway, go ahead and talk.
You know what's interesting to me is that I asked my brewer friend up here at the. Well, I won't mention the name of the brewery, but it's a brewery within walking distance of my home here. I asked him, what do you think about the oxidation seal on a can versus a bottle? He says, well, it depends. If you're using those special caps, those oxidation caps for the bottles, I think it's just as good as a can. He said, but you have to consider the plastic lining on a can over time may break down. He didn't say how much time, but it's just food for thought. Food for thought.
Yeah. Okay, 1959. Sorry, I said 58. 1959, Coors introduces aluminum cans and refrigerated marketing. Well, they've abandoned refrigerated marketing. Remember they used to tout that their beers were always delivered in a refrigerated truck? Well, that's been abandoned because the Coors guy arrives here in my town in a truck that's steaming hot, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, that sucks.
And I'm talking about all the craft beers too, by the way. They're all coming in these super hot vehicles. Well, what's that telling me? Hey, beer must be very durable because we get exquisite beers that are shipped in the heat, and then they chill them down, and they taste great. Like Chimay tastes fine, But if people knew it was exposed to heat, it might put that in their mind, and they'd think, oh no, it's terrible. Anyway, what are your final thoughts on Foster's? I like it. Well, I'm just going to tell you, I like it. Oh well, I like it. I can take it.
I don't find it offensive, but like I said, it's very bland to me, and I wouldn't rush out and buy it. But that shouldn't prevent anybody else from drinking it. And I received a lot of hate mail, by the way, and a lot of emails about WTH and WTF. What are you thinking about? I've been sitting here drinking it. It's not killing me, at least not yet. Anyway. Go ahead, Paul. What do you want to say?
I liked it. People have a problem with people liking beers that they like. I mean, I don't know what to say about that other than they need to get a life, I guess.
Yeah, I could see going
I don't send them messages saying they're stupid for liking their beers, whatever they are.
Yeah, right. Some people have an insecurity issue, I think. They take it too seriously. They can't relax and have a good time. Like Dave says, life is short. Why do you want to get all upset over trivial things like that? And I could see going out to Texas with you, Paul, and your wife, and we could drink Foster's and have a good old time with it, as you well know. Paul's wife is a beer fan, and she can get down with it when she needs to. She can appreciate really good craft beers, and she can appreciate ordinary stuff too, right? Am I correct?
I like it all. I mean, I like all those different kind of beers. I just have different beers for different moods.
By the way, but wait a minute now. I have to say this, Jay, because I know certain people are watching. I did not receive this can free of charge. This is not a paid endorsement, and I don't work for the Foster's Brewing Company. These are my own opinions. How about that?
Yeah, I bought this. I paid for this.
Only Jay and I understand what we're talking about.
But if SAB-Miller would like to offer me a position, I would gladly consider taking it.
Yes, I do not work for Miller Coors. I do not work for SAB-Miller, although I have done consulting. Well, let's not get into that. Anyway, as recently as yesterday, by the way, but we're not going to bring that up. But anyway,
we'll talk about that off air, Jay.
I'm enjoying it. That's all I can say about it. If somebody asked me, should I try Foster's, I wanted to check it out, I'd say, yeah, go for it. Now, there's beers in my fridge that I would tell people, run from it. Run from it. Do not drink it. But that's a different story. So I'm glad we got to drink Foster's. I'm really disappointed that some of the people didn't show up. I think they were having some, and this is no joke, some serious computer issues. So I'm going to get together with them privately and say what happened, and I think they're going to tell me that they had some kind of Oh, here's Eric.
Eric finally joined it, but you're too late, brother. We're done. Wait a minute, you missed the party.
What happened?
What do you mean I missed the party? I didn't even get the invite till just now.
Oh, wow. That's Google. Wait. That's Google's fault because I sent that invitation over 40 minutes ago. You know how technology goes, Eric.
John and I were like, "What's going on?" We had no clue where anybody was. John and I.
Oh no, I sent out those damn invitations.
Yeah, Jay sent it out early, like 20 after 7. I said, "Wait a minute, it's early. What's he doing?"
Right.
Yeah, because John had mentioned that he got a message from you saying at 7:20 he was going to start in 5 minutes, and that's the last John heard communications from you.
Eric, I was here with bells on, Eric. Bells. I was here with bells on.
Well, look, Eric, pop it open and pour it. We're not gonna fret over that.
I do have to go. I have young children. I'm gonna have to head out, guys.
All right.
Paul, thank you.
Good seeing you, Eric. Good seeing you, Dave.
Take
Nice
care,
to finally
Paul.
see you.
Take care.
Thanks, Paul.
All right. Quick review.
Quick review. It's got to be quick. We don't want to run it into triple digits or anything.
As expected, the can drips. It's the big can.
Oh yeah, I had to
it
clean
was
up a mess. You missed it. You didn't miss much, but I had to clean up a mess.
I was the only one that
American
poured without
lager,
spilling.
bubbly, big head.
Where's the beer?
Where's the beer?
Where's the beer?
Right,
Where's the beer?
right in there.
Where's the beef? Where's the beer?
Smells pretty, smells.
Oh, that was
Got
priceless.
this big head in my nose. Doesn't smell very hoppy. Smells pretty, slightly malty and grainy and just like a normal Budweiser Miller Lite kind of a beer. Yeah.
Eric, I'm glad you did that though, because we were remarking earlier about the huge collar of foam that this beer produces. We noticed that too.
And it still will. Look, and it still will.
Yep.
Which to me is a good sign, but you know, hey.
Yeah. Well, not nearly as much as it was before, but it still produced a little bit.
Can still drips.
Oh, those damn cans. Excuse my language, but those cans. I'm sorry, Dave, for cursing. I know. See, Dave doesn't believe in cursing on air, but I do that sometimes, and I apologize.
I respect other people's live hangouts, and I try to watch my language. Now, on my own videos, I could care less. You know.
Right, watch out.
I think you've seen my rant and raves because I put on there, danger, danger, do not enter.
Yeah, we all know about those. All right, Eric, what do you get on the aroma and the flavor?
I get that wet paperiness, slightly sweet, and it's really just a bunch of grains and light malty spiciness from the hops.
My goodness, wow. Did you have that in the freezer before you opened
For
it?
a little, yeah, I had that in the back of the refrigerator, and then I had it in the freezer for 15 minutes.
Okay.
That was all night in the refrigerator.
Well, give it a big gulp, like, you know, that's kind of a Foster's thing, Australia, gulping it down. Give us a big gulp and tell us what you...
It does have a different kind of a bitterness that I'm not used to. Might be that Pride of Ringwood hops. I'll give it like a C, a 3 out of 5. It's not anything that would make me want to buy this beer over, say, Miller Lite or PBR or anything like that, unless you're looking for a different kind of a different named beer and something a little bit different. If you're a Miller, Bud, and Coors drinker, then you might want to try this. But
yeah, but Eric,
it's different than any of those other beers, really.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But what do you think about when you see a rating for it, 4 out of 100 on Rate Beer? What do you think?
4 out of 100. To me, there's got to be something totally so wrong with that beer that a swallow isn't even possible. And I don't think that there's nothing wrong with the beer. You can drink it. It's refreshing. It's nice when it's cold. It doesn't taste sickening.
Yeah,
No.
you can make a lot of enemies drinking this beer in certain circles. You know, it's like you're not supposed to like stuff like this. Matter of fact, you're almost obligated to hate it. And
I think with beers, I think especially with beers like this, I mean especially this beer more than any other of these American-style beers, it's the marketing. I mean, if they all taste relatively the same, it's the marketing that's going to drive you to buy this. It's not any of its exotic flavors that's going to drive you to buy it.
Yeah, and I
at
think
all.
that's the same case with automobiles and tennis shoes and things like that, right? I mean, it's like, you know, there's a lot of good cars you can buy from different car makers, and they're all very similar. And what you're
Right.
going to buy is probably, you know, pretty good. And tennis shoes, same thing, you know. And so that's why you get into the quirky commercials and the like you're talking about, how they position the beer on television, because what they have to differentiate themselves is not that big.
Absolutely.
Let me say one thing. I'll be like President Nixon. Let me say one thing.
Okay.
Somebody must be buying the beer because, Jay, what year did they start? 89? What year?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what? You're not going to stay in business that many years if you have really crappy beer, are you?
Yep.
And
And
in
if I read my information correctly on the interwebs here, it's the information that I have on my screen says their annual sales amount to around 5 million hectoliters worldwide. So if people weren't drinking this around the world, then they wouldn't be bothering to make as much as is being bought.
That's
Correct.
a
Wouldn't bother with it at all. I mean, what's the point of brewing a beer and having that big ad campaign if nobody is buying into it?
Correct. It's the second largest selling beer in Great Britain, a country of over 70 million people. Do you think you could produce a product that would be that ghastly that people would buy? I would think no, you could not do that.
Give me a Foster's. I'll take a Foster's. Give me a Foster's.
You can go anywhere on this planet and buy a Foster's and ice it down, and they will taste exactly the same. And that is one thing I've always said about Miller Brewing Company. When they make a beer, it is the same everywhere on this planet. Now, that is almost not debatable, I don't think. Now, it may not be good. You may not like it, but it's going to be
You may not like it, but yeah. You may not like it, but it's the same everywhere. Like it,
no
love it, or
surprises. No surprises from Miller Brewing Company.
well,
Absolutely.
hey, my friends, I know we don't want to run this too long.
Right. Right. But I appreciate you joining, Eric. I'm sorry about John. I sent out 3 invitations to John. I don't know what happened.
Oh my God.
There is some
Well, I found it finally. So yeah, definitely a C beer, 3 out of 5. Nothing wrong with it. It's definitely, the last thing I'll say is it definitely has a different kind of a bitterness than a lot of the Buds and Millers and the Coors does.
So you think there's something to be said about the pride of Ringwood hops?
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely something a little bit different going on, but it's not different enough to say you need to buy this over PBR, you need to buy this over Miller High Life.
I'll go along with that. That sounds fair enough. And I appreciate everybody's very well thought out and reasonable evaluations of the beer. I appreciate it. I think this was a great session, personally.
Absolutely.
So what are you guys going to do next week? What are you guys thinking about next week?
Ice House.
Oh, that's right. You did tell me. I can get a tall can. I can get that. Yeah, I can get that.
Yeah, I can get an 18-ounce bottle for sure. So I'm going to go over there. I might even go over there this evening to that Shell station, which is about half a mile north of me, and pick that 18-ounce bottle up. I'm going to let this beer wear off a little bit because I take Dave's advice.
Good for you, Jay. Good for you. Hey, well, I'll see you off air. Yeah, I'll see you off air in a minute. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, world, for watching this video production.
See you for Ice House.
Cheers.
Cheers, world.